think is transformative.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for those of you who watched and thought, like, oh, now they're going to do something crazy, Derek is not going to be hit by a bus and thus forget that Meredith exists by the time she sees him again or anything like that.
We're not going to cut to 6 months later.
We're not going to cut to 6 months later and he's married to Rose. Yeah, we're not going to find out that Rose is pregnant. Like, none of those things are going to happen.
We actually are committed to the fact
I can tell you that openly and honestly. None of those things are going to happen.
And by the way, that's a rare moment, so take a photo.
Yeah. Meredith and Derek are getting together
for
good.
And that's going to be actually, I think, really fun to watch next season.
I'm really excited about
it's a whole different stage of the relationship.
Yeah, the next stage of the relationship and all the possibilities. Because, you know, the thing about Happily Ever After is there's no such thing. Like, you know, Cinderella may have gotten to the castle, but, you know, still had to sleep with the guy and deal with all of his problems and his family and stuff.
And laundry.
Well, I don't think Cinderella had to do laundry.
But she had an experience in scullery. It seems to me like it would have been a great side work for her when she got bored.
She's ruling a country.
Okay, she's ruling a country, but occasionally maybe she likes to wash the occasional blouse just to remind her of where she came from. I don't think it's a bad necessarily idea. But my point is being that it's not really, when you get together with somebody, no, it's not all glamorous, because the fact is you have to start dealing with the day-to-day things, like they leave the tops off the toothbrush, or they don't actually screw the bottles really tightly in the refrigerator. That's a message, actually, for someone I know. But there's things like that.
Like there's a whole other level of exciting, sexy, new stuff that we're going to be able to play with them that we're pretty excited about.
Absolutely, and that you get to see the realities, the great realities of being in a relationship, which is true too.
Exactly.
One of the coolest things I think you did in this was the revelation where you realize where Meredith can't figure out how Dr. Wyatt knows that her mom wasn't serious about committing suicide.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things which is actually right in front of you, and you don't really think about either. Yeah. Which is, I was with Meredith, because I was like, yeah, how the hell do you know? Like, where do you get off? You weren't there, so why don't you shut up? Because she wanted to commit suicide, because I felt like hell about it my entire life. And then the reality, then when it dawns her in that conversation with Richard, is amazing.
Yeah, when I sat down to write the opening scene where she's talking to Dr. Wyatt, and she tells Dr. Wyatt how her mother tried to kill herself, I was like, she took a scalpel, and I started to really think about it, like, how would Ellis try to kill herself? And then I started to think, well, if Ellis really wanted to kill herself, she really would do it. And that's sort of how that whole idea started, because she'd know what to cut. So it was really interesting to sort of take that out of Meredith's hands as something that she'd know from the very beginning, and let it be something that she discovers. Because when you're a kid, when you're 5 years old, and something like that happens to you, those are not the things you're thinking about.
No.
You know, you're traumatized and in the moment, and that's the story you've built up for the rest of your life. And the idea that her mother said, be extraordinary, and as a child, what she took that to mean is, be like my mother, be a surgeon, be cold and hard, be alone, is very different from what her mother meant, was don't be like me, be extraordinary, which I thought was great.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't talking about surgery. So for me, like, that revelation really made the script have the weight that it needed to have.
I also felt like, in a weird way, to be extraordinary enough for this man to love you. Like, it's this other, because you figure Ellis is in this horrible place in her head where she's killing herself, where she feels like she's been left. And it's be the woman I'm not. You're right. It's like
it's be brave.
Be brave.
It's be brave.
And be yourself, and don't chicken out, which is what Ellis did.
Yeah.
So it's
be an extraordinary woman.
It's which is also what Christina does in this.
Yeah.
Christina actually ends up being herself, which is what's awesome. And she gets
her
mojo
because
back.
She's been working so hard to sort of be whatever it is that Erica Hahn could possibly need her to be.
Good little obedient bunny.
And then she went through sort of the horrible cycle of depression, of Burke getting her bravery, and then, you know, she's singing like a virgin. And
her strange Tourette's of, like, being truthful to
and
everybody,
then the anger,
telling them what she
where
really
she's,
thinks.
Yeah, telling everybody. And I love that, first of all, what makes her happy is the Sparkle Pager, because we're very fond of the Sparkle Pager over here.
Yeah, we actually...
I have a Sparkle Pager in my office right now.
Yes, she does. And
the very Sparkle Pager.
By the way, it may be stolen.
It's in the safe, actually.
Mm.
Don't worry about that.
Damn it. Damn. I was going to distract her.
But, you know, I love that Meredith gives her the one thing that could make her happy, which is sort of give her this freedom. And then she's sort of determined throughout the day to just keep going, keep moving forward. She's very respectful of Han, even though Han's sort of being Han to her. She's really planning on this, getting her mojo back. She got on Cement Boy. Everything is great. They get in the OR. The girl sees her chance, and she takes it. And that great moment when Han comes forward and Christina shouts her down is just brilliant. Like, I love the moment of Sandra Oh sort of very carefully working, and it's not this frenetic, angry thing. It's a total calm until she screams, "Shut up and let me work." And the look on Han's face is priceless. But for her, it was, for that character, it was, I've earned this. Let me do my thing. And the chief backs her up is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And calls Erica on it. And I love the little spin, the chair spin she gives at the end after the chief says, "Don't make me
she's so happy.
regret backing you up." And she's a little chair spin, which is the cutest thing ever.
But it is that thing of, look, Han is a crappy teacher.
Yeah.
Han has been a really crappy teacher. And that hadn't really occurred to me until the chief says, you're a great surgeon, but unless you're a better teacher, you can't work here.
Yeah. And
true.
she's a brilliant, brilliant surgeon. And she seems like a lovely person to Callie,
Yep.
worthy of love,
Yep.
But as a person who's supposed to be teaching somebody, to simply decide you don't like someone and then abuse them based on that dislike is not being a good teacher.
That's absolutely right.
Word to you teachers out there, don't do that.
I think probably it's
our public service message.
That was good. I'm glad we did that.
Yeah.
That was good. Now, I remember a while before this was written, you had a thing about a boy being trapped in concrete.
Well, this is what happened. I was driving from here, where we work, over to ABC for a meeting. And I was singing really loud in the car to Beyonce, because that's my car music, just in case, I know the music show has an identity, but I sing to Beyonce.
Hey, Beyonce.
Anyway, I was singing really loud to Beyonce, which means I really couldn't hear anything because I can't sing well and I sing really loud. And I was changing lanes, and a cement truck cut me off.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah. And the cement truck was churning like there was cement in it, and I got this idea of, what if that truck had hit me? If the cement had poured into and I literally started thinking, if the cement had poured into the car, would I be frozen in the car? Would they be able to get me out of the car? How would they get me to the hospital? What would the cement do to my skin? Would I be able to breathe? What kind of surgery do you do? Do you have to chip the person out of cement? And when I came back to the office after my meeting, the first thing I said to Elizabeth Levitter, our medical researcher, was, what happens to somebody when they're stuck in cement? And that's how the whole thing started.
Well, and what's interesting about that, too, is there isn't that much research, is there, about what it's like to be stuck in cement? Because the whole thing that was really, really funny about the episode, which is really, really quiet, but most of the evidence has to do with being at the bottom of a river,
yes, George
basically in cement boots, which I know is really funny, which is, most are drownings. But that's what I found really interesting was when he does come in, and at first, honestly, you don't know what the hell that thing is.
Yeah,
it's just this big old lump of stuff.
It looks a little bit like a dinosaur egg.
It does. It looks a little bit like it's Sesame Street, and you're not really sure what he is.
Yeah.
But as soon as you learn what it is, which is 12 times as terrifying, immediately in your brain, you say, well, how did that happen? Like,
right.
what happens to your body? Because the most disturbing thing about Cement Boy to me was how normal it seems, up until a particular point.
Yeah.
That he's talking, and Bailey, who apparently has seen every Star Wars movie 58,000 times.
Of course she has.
A good secret fact about Bailey, that
yes.
she's a Star Wars nerd. But I think the amazing thing is, like, that we're all standing there and she's talking to the boy, and he seems fine, with the exception of the fact that every once in a while Sloane puts some vinegar on an open.
Yeah.
And then you realize the catheter issue, where you realize, oh my God, they got to get the catheter in.
Explode.
And then you start to realize, oh my God, it's going to move to his heart, and he could. It's
Yeah.
terrifying because the ramifications are so huge so quickly.
And what was awesome was when I asked the question, what happens to somebody when they're trapped in cement? And Elizabeth went away and did all this research and talked to all these surgeons and got all. What was great was that when she came back, she was like, this is the coolest case ever. Because it could happen, and here's why it could happen, and here's how it could happen, and here's what they'd have to do. And to hear all the details, like the water is being slowly bleached from your skin by the cement is burning you, literally, the alkaline from the cement are burning you from the inside out. Your bones are being crushed. You're going to have fasciotomy, which means your muscles are going to swell faster than your skin. So in order to keep your legs from basically exploding, we have to slice them open.
This is the all-star team of surgery.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
it was literally like the Super Bowl of surgery.
Pretty much.